The government has been accused of putting millions of Brits at risk with ridiculous plans to guard borders with a dad's army of volunteers. The Home Office today admitted that proposals for Border Force special volunteers at small air and seaports were being discussed. They would be used to bolster Border Force staff like police community support officers. A trial run is said to involve around 50 volunteers at major East Coast ports including Felixstowe and Immingham, as well as at light airfields. Mark Serwoodka, General Secretary of the Public and Commercial Services Union, which represents Border Force staff, warned the plans were risking this country's security on the cheap. He said, Border Force are already using poorly trained seasonal workers at most ports and airports, not just at peak periods but throughout the year because of permanent staff cuts. The plans to use volunteer Border Force specials is a further move towards casualization of the workforce. Government rhetoric has claimed that they are strong and stable. That is not the effect of their policies on this country. They are making our borders weaker with the use of casual labor and they are risking this country's security on the cheap. Mr. Serwoodka demanded the government stop these ridiculous plans to use volunteers to protect our borders. Labour MP Yvette Cooper, chairman of the powerful Home Affairs Select Committee, said it was wrong to use volunteers in the place of fully trained staff. She said, filling the gaps with volunteers because of budget and staffing cuts raises very serious questions about border security and the Home Office commitment to this important public service. We will be calling for evidence on this proposal as part of our inquiry into post-Brexit border security. Lib Dem Home Affairs spokesperson Ed Davey added, "Now we see what the Conservatives really mean by controlling our borders. They want to reinvent Dad's army at our ports. This would be funny if it wasn't so serious. Our small ports are Britain's soft underbelly in the fight against illegal immigration, drug smuggling and terrorism." Labour MP Mary Glinden blasted the plans as farcical, adding, "What message does it send to the world about our border security if volunteers are doing it?" And a Tory MP whose constituency covers one of Britain's largest ports warned against creating the Dad's Army type setup of volunteers. The Border Force carries out immigration and customs controls for people and goods entering the UK. Reports in the past have raised concerns over poor coverage of minor harbours and landing places. A Home Office spokesman said, Border Force is currently considering the potential benefits of a Border Force special volunteer force, and is in discussions with other law enforcement agencies such as local police to understand how they use volunteers in addition to their existing workforce. An inspection by the department published earlier this year of 62 ports, wharves, marinas and jetties on the East Coast that were normally unmanned found Border Force officers had not been to 27 of the sites during the 15 months from April 2015 to June 2016. The assessment said one of the risks of long periods of non-attendance by Border Force at some locations is there is no visible deterrent to anyone prepared to risk using these spots to land illegal migrants or contraband. In a separate report, ex-independent reviewer of terrorism legislation David Anderson QC also flagged up coverage of smaller South and East Coast ports, marinas and landing places, saying it is conceivable they might be an option for returning foreign fighters or other terrorists. The Home Office said it uses a mix of expert officers, technology, data and intelligence to keep UK borders secure and has stopped tens of thousands of illegal attempts to enter the country. A spokesman said volunteers would not be used by immigration enforcement, but added, "We're committed to ensuring that Border Force has the resources it needs to keep the UK safe and we will never compromise the security of our borders." But Dover MP Charlie Elphick said, border security is a skilled job, which takes many years of training. I would urge great caution before seeking to adopt a model like that used by the police, with special constables. We can't have a dad's army type of setup.